how do we make this bigger? Because right now, just looking at this, we're not caring about the actual size, just how it looks aesthetically. It's going to be a very, very small mug. So you see these 4 squares over here on the bottom. That's what's going to change the scale. So we can see that when I hover over this square, it says 20 and 20. Right now, we are in millimeters. So that's 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters, aka 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. Okay? When I click and drag, you can see I can change the size. But we want our mug to be a circle. So how do we change the size and keep it a circle? There's 2 ways. You can hold Shift on your keyboard while dragging, and the whole object will scale. Okay? Or you can drag it to however wide or long you want it, and then just type in the same number. Say 60 here, press enter, 60 here, press enter, and now it is perfectly square. So in this case, it's perfectly round, right? Okay, so if I want to make this object taller, it's easier to do when looking at a slight angle, okay? So you see these 4 at the bottom, these 4 white squares. Those are what make the length and the width different sizes. If I want to make it taller, I go for the middle square right here. This middle white square is how I can scale this up, okay? Now, so that looks about right to me. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to make it a little smaller. And now I need a handle, right? So that's going to be the body of my mug, and I'm going to attach a handle to it. And then I'm going to make a hole. Now, why do we do it this way rather than making the hole, then the handle? Well, let's make the handle first, and then you'll see when we move on to the next section, which is how to join things together and how to cut holes from objects as well. Okay, so just keep that question in the back of your head. Why are we doing it with the handle first, not the hole first? Okay, so if we want to make a handle, add a handle, we've got basically 2 objects that are close to what we might want, a torus and a tube. I'm going to use the torus. You can use the tube if you want to use the tube. Okay, and so again, we're going to use this to make it however long we want it, however large we want. Okay, in this case, I kind of want this object to be a bit of a oval. Okay, and I'm going to make it not too tall, about there, right? So now I want this object in this body at an angle. So how do I do that? Pay attention. When I click on this object, it's very faint to see, but you see this arrow, this double-sided arrow. That is how you rotate things. So if you click on that and rotate, right? Very simple. The double-sided arrow. Okay, so now we've got it on its side. That's great. Now, if I wanted to rotate it again, I can do that. Or so I can put it over here, right, just by dragging it. Or I can rotate it once more by, again, finding the arrow, finding the appropriate arrow. So this one, if I click on that, it'll rotate it the wrong way. I don't want it to rotate that way. I want it to rotate the other way. So if I was here, say, into the page. All right, so it's the side one there. I'll go 90 degrees. Perfect. Now, last but not least, I drag my pot in and I'm done, right? Wrong. Why? If we were to actually make this object in real life, you'd never be able to put your mug down on the ground because the handle goes through the table. So I'm going to have to first raise that handle up until the handle's not going through the table. So how do I do that? It's quite simple. We just go on the arrow right here. If you see, there's the big darker arrow, and we just drag that up, and it's as easy as that. And we just want to make sure we're not touching the ground. There we go. We're not touching the ground, and so there we have it. We've made it as centered as we can. We've brought it high enough so it's not touching the ground. We pushed it in just so enough is sticking out for your hands. All right, and then you can continue to adjust the size, right? as you see fit. Okay, there we go. And so that is how you manipulate the size and position of objects in Tinkercad.